I'm sure you have said yes when everything in you was screaming no, or apologized for things that were not even your fault, or kept someone else comfortable while abandoning your own peace. Today we're talking about why boundaries feel terrifying after narcissistic abuse, and I'm giving you 3 practical simple tips you can start using right away to set boundaries without drowning in guilt or panic. So if saying no feels wrong, if even the thought of setting boundaries makes your stomach tighten, or if you are exhausted from betraying yourself just to keep the peace, grab your journal and pen. Let's get into it. Do you want to heal from narcissistic abuse, but you struggle with self-doubt and second-guessing everything? If so, you're in the right place. I'm Takia, mom, coach, and your survivor friend. Here we mix faith, real talk, and practical tools to restore confidence and self-worth. So if you're ready to rebuild your confidence and finally feel at peace, take a deep breath. Exhale now. Let's heal for real. I know all too well what people pleasing feels like. I used to consistently pray, God, please break me out of people pleasing. Please help me. Because I really felt trapped. There was this time, and this is after I was out of the narcissistic situation. I had a friend who needed help with a project. And it was a fun project. It was something that I enjoyed doing. So I said, yes. It was not a problem. The problem came where every time we would agree to meet up, the times kept getting pushed back. Or when we did meet, we spent way too many hours working on this project, and I was neglecting things that I needed to be doing for myself and for my daughter. And inside, I was very agitated, but I didn't want to speak up because I didn't want to seem rude. I didn't want to look un-Christ-like. I didn't want to deal with any potential conflict or rejection. So I kept saying yes. I kept showing up, even though I was feeling some low-level resentment. I kept saying yes. I thought that this was me being kind. This was me being a good friend. I thought I had to do this in order to keep the peace. But what I didn't realize was that I was operating out of fear. This is what people pleasing does. Your nervous system pretty much kicks in and does whatever it needs to do to give you a sense of safety. So that's why boundaries after narcissistic abuse can feel terrifying. So my first point today is that people pleasing is not your personality. It is a survival strategy that your body learned in order to keep you safe. Your nervous system learned that if I keep everybody happy, maybe I won't get hurt. If I stay small and agreeable, I won't get rejected. And if I don't speak up, things won't explode. If you grew up around unpredictability or you lived with a narcissist, people pleasing was not optional. It was protection. Now, before we talk about setting boundaries, let me make this simple. A boundary is a limit that protects your peace, your energy, and your well-being. A boundary is not a wall. It is not punishment. It is not selfishness. It is not conflict. Neither is it something that only strong people can do. A boundary is simply you saying this is okay with me and this is not. This is what I'm responsible for and this is what I'm not. When you have experienced narcissistic abuse, you've been trained to believe that your needs cause problems. Every time you ask for something, and it doesn't have to be something elaborate, a little help, respect, clarity, consideration, it was met with resistance, anger, punishment, or even some passive-aggressive behavior. So you learned that it's easier and better not to ask. Secondly, you learn that setting boundaries equals conflict. Narcissists do not respect boundaries. They see them as a challenge, an insult, or a threat to their control. So any boundary that you try to set may have been met with manipulation, guilt tripping, rage, or the dreaded silent treatment. So you learned, if I set a boundary, I'll pay for it. Something bad is going to happen. And thirdly, you learned that saying no makes you a bad person. You were told, or at least made to feel, that having limits made you selfish, ungrateful, unloving, difficult, or dramatic. So saying no became associated with shame, guilt, and fear. But none of these things are actually true. And even though you may be out of that relationship, the conditioning remains. You still feel guilty for saying no. You still over-explain yourself. You still brace for conflict every time you state a need. So when it comes to setting boundaries, just the thought of it, of course your body freezes. You feel guilty. You feel anxious. But thankfully, that conditioning can be unlearned. And I'm going to take you through 3 simple tips to set healthy boundaries. Tip number 1, start small. Very small. Don't think about the hardest boundary you need to set right now. Pick something that feels manageable because your nervous system needs small wins. You can try something like not responding to texts immediately. I know we're living in this day of instant messaging, WhatsApp, iMessage, whatever you use, and there's this pressure where anytime somebody messages, I have to respond immediately. No, how about taking a step back, sitting it for a moment before you respond? If you take 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, that's okay. Try saying, let me think about it, instead of immediately saying yes. You can decline an invitation without explaining. Or you can excuse yourself from conversations when you become or feel overwhelmed. Every time you set a small boundary, you're teaching your body, you're training your body, your mind, nothing bad happened. I am safe. And this helps in the rewiring of your nervous system. So my challenge for you is to pick one small boundary this week. Practice it. Notice how it feels and write down what happens. Take some time to really think about this. This helps to retrain your brain to see boundaries as safe. Tip number 2, stop over-explaining yourself. Oh, this was a huge one for me. One of the biggest signs of boundary guilt is over-explaining. Over-explaining is a trauma response. It's like your nervous system is begging and saying, don't be mad at me, don't reject me, please, please. So you find yourself saying things like, I'm sorry, I can't because XYZ. And then because, and 10 minutes later, you're still there trying to justify why you can't do something. When you over-explain, you're unconsciously asking for permission to have a boundary. You're trying to justify why your no is valid. But the truth is, your no is complete and it doesn't need a defense. And I remember prior to being in a narcissistic situation, saying no was pretty easy for me. And I remember when I would just give no as an answer, this person would say, you can't say no, you have to explain. And I would say, no is a complete sentence. And I was pretty shocked, I guess, coming out of the situation where I became a person that needed to super explain everything to try to justify myself and, just go into this defensive mode. Now, when you stop over-explaining, you stop giving people ammunition to argue with your boundary. You also stop reinforcing the lie that your needs require justification. So you can practice these simple things like saying, I'm not available, or that doesn't work for me. I've decided not to do XYZ, or I'm not comfortable with that. No explanation, just a clear, calm statement. Believe me, it will feel weird at first. Your brain is going to scream, but they need to know why. You have to tell them why. If you don't, they're not going to like you. They're going to think this about you. But guess what? You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for protecting your peace. So even though your brain is screaming, they need to know why. Just practice saying less. And it gets easier and easier and easier. Trust me. Tip number 3, expect pushback and try not to take it personally. People who benefit from you not having boundaries are not going to celebrate you having them. This is a blow to them. When you start healing, they will guilt trip you. They will question you, smear your name, act like victims, accuse you of being selfish. Push the boundary to see if you fold, if you're really serious about this boundary. Or they will try to pull you back into old patterns. This was a big one for me because, I would be ready to clap back. So, yeah, they will try to get you to go back there. And if you're not prepared for the pushback, you will fold. You will think things like, oh my goodness, I knew this would have happened. I should have just kept quiet. But pushback does not mean that your boundary is wrong. It means it's working. It means that you're no longer tolerating what you used to tolerate. And some people are not going to like that, and that's okay. Their discomfort with your boundary is not your problem to fix. And when somebody pushes back, just gently remind yourself, their discomfort with my boundary is not my responsibility. Protecting my peace is. Protecting my well-being is. Then, if you choose to, you can calmly repeat your boundary. I understand you're upset, but this is my decision, and my decision stands. I hear what you're saying, but this is what works for me. I'm not going to change my mind about this. You're not being mean. You're being clear, and that's healthy. And the people who truly respect you will adjust and respect your boundaries, and the ones who don't, that tells you all you needed to know. So, friends, this is what I want you to take with you. People pleasing is not a flaw. It is a trauma response. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe in the only way it knew how. But you don't have to live that way anymore. Boundaries are not selfish. They're not mean. They're not un-Christ-like. Boundaries are how you protect your peace, how you honor your worth, and how you step out of survival mode and into self-respect. So, start small. Let your nervous system learn safety. Stop over-explaining. No is a complete sentence, all on its own. Expect the pushback. It is proof that you're changing, but not necessarily that you're wrong. And when the guilt comes, because it will, remind yourself this discomfort is not proof that I'm doing something wrong. It's proof that I'm doing something new. Hi friends! I hope today's episode taught you something and gave you a boost. If it did, would you take a couple seconds and share with someone who's ready to heal from narcissistic abuse? And while you're at it, could you please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It really thrills me to know that other women are being helped. Now go ahead, stretch or grab that snack. I'll see you in our next episode.